Hey, I'm Sarah, 28, thriving in my marketing career, but my personal life? A total mess. It all goes back to when I was a kid. My dad, Jack, walked out when I was 5, leaving my mom, Linda, to raise me on her own. Fast forward to when I was 12, enter Robert, my stepdad. He tried to take on the dad role, but let's be real, it never quite clicked. Things got complicated when I turned 18. Jack reappeared, and we've been close ever since, which drives my mom crazy. She insists Robert is my real dad, always saying things like, "Sarah, honey, Robert's been more of a father to you than Jack ever was." Her voice always drips with fake sweetness. I just roll my eyes and say, "Mom, Jack is my dad. Robert's great, but he's not my father." We've had this argument a million times. But this Thanksgiving, oh boy, Linda took things to a whole new level. I was chilling at home when I got a text from her. "Thanksgiving at our place. Can't wait to see you, sweetie." I smiled, hoping for a drama-free holiday for once. Then came the follow-up. "Oh, and Sarah, it would mean so much to Robert if you called him Dad this year. He's earned it, don't you think?" I couldn't believe it. Was she serious? I quickly replied, "Mom, we've been over this. I'm not calling Robert Dad. It's not happening." Her response came back instantly. "Why are you so stubborn? After everything Robert's done for you." My blood pressure spiked. It's not about what Robert's done. It's about respecting my relationship with Jack. He's my dad. Period. Jack left us, Sarah. Robert stayed. Think about that. I threw my phone onto the couch, fuming. Why couldn't she understand? It's not like I was trying to hurt Robert. He's a good guy, but he's not my dad. And Jack? Yeah, he messed up, but he's been trying. Doesn't that count for something? I paced around, trying to calm down. This was supposed to be a simple Thanksgiving dinner, not some twisted loyalty test. Staring at the messages on my phone, I knew this wasn't over. Linda wasn't going to drop it, and neither was I. Little did I know, this was just the beginning. Thanksgiving was about to turn into a battleground. When I pulled up to Linda and Robert's house, my stomach was in knots. This wasn't going to be pretty, but it had to be done. I rang the doorbell, taking a deep breath. "Sarah, honey, come in, come in." Linda greeted me with a tight smile as she ushered me inside. Robert was lounging in his favorite chair, giving me a nod without saying a word. Typical. "So about Thanksgiving," I started, trying to ease into it. "Oh yes," Linda clasped her hands together. "It's going to be wonderful. Everyone's so excited to see you. And Robert's really looking forward to you calling him Dad." I felt my jaw tighten. "Yeah, about that. I'm not doing it, Mom. I can't." The room seemed to chill instantly. Linda's smile disappeared. "What do you mean you can't? It's just a word, Sarah." "It's not just a word, and you know it. Jack is my dad. Robert is my stepdad, and I respect him, but I'm not going to pretend he's someone he's not." Robert shifted uncomfortably while Linda's eyes narrowed. "After everything Robert's done for you, this is how you repay him? By throwing Jack in our faces?" "I'm not throwing anything in anyone's face. I'm just being honest about who my family is." "Family?" Linda scoffed. "Jack walked out on us. Robert has been here every single day. And I appreciate that, I do. But it doesn't change the fact that Jack is my father." "He's trying, Mom. You can't just erase him." "He doesn't deserve to be called your father," Linda practically shouted. "That's not for you to decide." I shot back. Finally, Robert spoke. "Sarah, your mother and I just want what's best for the family. Is it really so hard to call me Dad?" I turned to him, trying to keep my cool. "Robert, I respect you. I really do. But you're not my dad. I can't just erase Jack to make you feel better." Linda threw her hands up. "Unbelievable. After everything we've done for you." "Ungrateful." I cut her off. "Are you kidding me? I've bent over backwards trying to make everyone happy. But I'm not going to lie about who I am or where I came from." Linda's voice turned icy. "Fine, maybe you shouldn't come to Thanksgiving at all." It felt like a slap across the face. "What? You heard me. If you can't respect this family enough to do this one simple thing, then maybe you don't belong here for the holidays." I looked at Robert, hoping he'd step in, say something, but he just sat there in silence as usual. "You're really going to uninvite me from Thanksgiving because I won't pretend Robert is my biological father." Linda's voice was cold and firm. "It's your choice, Sarah. call Robert dad and be part of this family, or don't bother showing up. I stood there stunned. I couldn't believe what was happening. You know what? Fine. If that's how it's going to be, I won't come. I'm not going to let you manipulate me. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. Linda's voice followed me. Sarah, don't you dare walk out that door. I paused, my hand on the doorknob. Without turning around, I replied, watch me. And with that, I left. As I drove home, my mind raced. How did things get so messed up? All I wanted was to be honest about my family, and now I was banned from Thanksgiving. But I wasn't about to back down. If Linda and Robert wanted to play hardball, they were about to learn that I could give just as good as I got. The day after that blowout, I met up with my best friend, Emma, and my boyfriend, Michael, at our favorite coffee shop. I needed to vent, badly. She did what? Emma nearly spilled her latte. Yep. Uninvited me from Thanksgiving unless I call Robert dad. Michael shook his head. That's messed up, Sarah. Your mom's really crossing a line here. Tell me about it, I sighed. I just don't get why she can't accept that Jack is part of my life. Emma leaned in. Have you told Jack about this? Not yet. I'm going to call him later. I don't know, embarrassed, I guess. Don't be. Michael squeezed my hand. This isn't your fault. I nodded, fighting back tears. Thanks, guys. I don't know what I'd do without you. Later that day, I called Jack, my heart pounding as I filled him in on everything. Oh, kiddo, he sighed. I'm so sorry you're going through this. It's not your fault, Dad. I wish Mom could understand. I know. But Sarah, I'm proud of you for standing your ground. You're not doing anything wrong by acknowledging both parts of your family. His words meant more than he knew. Thanks, Dad. That really means a lot. A few days passed, and I was starting to feel a little better. Then my half-sister Megan called. Sarah, I need to tell you something. Mom's been talking to the whole family about you. My stomach dropped. What is she saying? She's telling everyone you're being rebellious and disrespectful. She's making herself out to be the victim. I felt like I'd been punched. Are you serious? Yeah, I'm sorry, Sarah. I thought you should know. After hanging up, I paced my apartment, fuming. This was the last straw. I called Emma, Michael, and Jack. Guys, I need your help. We're going to expose Linda's manipulation. Emma was all in. What's the plan, boss? We're going to gather evidence. Texts, emails, recorded calls, anything that shows how Linda's been twisting things. Michael chimed in. I can help compile everything into a presentation. Perfect. And Dad, if you're okay with it, I'd like to include some of our correspondence. Show everyone how you've been trying to be part of my life. Whatever you need, Sarah. I'm here for you. Over the next few days, we gathered everything. Emma dug up old texts where Linda had manipulated situations. Michael found emails where she tried to guilt-trip me, and Jack provided years of letters and photos showing his efforts to stay in my life. As we put it all together, I felt a mix of sadness and determination. I hated that it had come to this, but I couldn't let Linda's lies go on. The night before Thanksgiving, we finalized the plan. Okay, so we'll show up unannounced, I repeated. Michael, you'll have the presentation ready on your tablet. Emma, you'll handle crowd control if things get messy. And Dad, just be there. Okay. They all nodded, looking as nervous as I felt. Sarah, are you sure about this? Jack asked gently. I took a deep breath. Yeah, I'm sure. It's time everyone knew the truth. Thanksgiving Day arrived, and my heart pounded as we pulled up to Linda and Robert's house. Jack, Emma, and Michael were with me, all looking as anxious as I felt. You ready for this, kiddo? Jack asked, squeezing my hand. I took a deep breath, as ready as I'll ever be. We walked up to the door, and I rang the bell. Aunt Karen answered, her eyes widening in surprise. Sarah, we thought you weren't coming. Change of plans, I said, pushing past her into the house. The living room fell silent as we entered. Linda's face shifted from shock to anger in seconds. What are you doing here? And with him? She glared at Jack. I stood tall, facing the room full of confused relatives. I'm here to set the record straight. Robert stood up, looking uncomfortable. Sarah, this isn't the time or place. Actually, it's exactly the time and place. I cut him off. You've all been lied to, and it stops now. Michael set up his tablet. connecting it to the TV, while Emma stood by the door, making sure no one left. "What's going on?" Uncle Steve asked, looking bewildered. I took a deep breath. For years, Linda has been manipulating and lying to all of you about me, about Jack, and about our family. Today, you're going to see the truth. Michael started the presentation. Text messages popped up on the screen, showing Linda's guilt-tripping and manipulation. "If you really love this family, you'd do as I say," I read aloud. "That's what she texted me last month when I refused to pretend Robert was my only father." Gasps filled the room. Aunt Susan spoke up. "Linda, is this true?" Linda tried to defend herself. "It's taken out of context. Sarah's twisting things." "Am I?" I interrupted. "Let's keep going." More evidence appeared, emails, recorded phone calls, showing Linda's pattern of emotional abuse. "And here," I said, my voice shaking, "are the letters and photos Jack sent me over the years, the ones Linda told you didn't exist." Jack stepped forward. "I've been trying to be part of Sarah's life since she turned 18. Linda has blocked me at every turn." The room erupted. Megan stood up, tears in her eyes. "It's true, I've seen Mom do this for years." Linda frantically tried to regain control. "You can't believe this. Robert, tell them." But Robert just sat there, shell-shocked, unable to defend her. I turned to face my relatives. "I'm not here to ask you to choose sides. I'm here because I'm done being manipulated and lied about. Family isn't about blood or titles. It's about love and respect." Uncle Steve stood up, looking remorseful. "I'm so sorry, Sarah. We had no idea." Aunt Karen nodded, turning to Linda. "How could you do this?" Linda, red-faced, stammered, "I was just trying to protect our family. Jack left us, and I've regretted it every day." Jack spoke quietly but firmly. "I've been trying to make amends, and Sarah was kind enough to give me that chance." I felt tears welling up as I addressed the room. "I love all parts of my family, Jack, Robert, all of you, but I won't be forced to deny any part of who I am or where I come from." Megan came over and hugged me. "I'm with you, sis." One by one, relatives approached me, offering apologies and support. Linda and Robert remained on the couch, looking lost as the gathering wound down. Aunt Susan came over before we left. "We're having a Christmas get-together next month. We'd love for you to come and bring Jack, if you'd like." I smiled through my tears. "I'd love that. Thank you." As we walked out of the house, I felt lighter than I had in years. Jack looked at me, his eyes shining with pride. "You're the bravest person I know, kiddo." In the weeks that followed, I received calls and messages from relatives apologizing and wanting to reconnect. I even began planning a holiday gathering of my own, inviting Jack, Megan, and the family members who had stood by me. As for Linda and Robert, I decided to keep my distance for now. Maybe one day we could rebuild, but for the time being, I needed space to heal. And now I want to hear from you. What would you have done in my shoes? Would you have exposed your family's lies and manipulation at Thanksgiving, or kept the peace to avoid confrontation? There's no easy answer when it comes to toxic family dynamics, and sometimes standing up for yourself means rocking the boat. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear your take on this situation. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more like it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.